Welcome to the very first episode of the Eternadaters podcast. I have been wanting to do this for so long, and I kept stopping myself because I was too scared, because I told myself I was too busy, because I figured someone else would do it and could do it better than I could. But I finally put all those excuses behind me and decided to start my own LDS singles dating podcast for those of us that are just out there doing our best. So I'm your host, Ashlyn. If you're currently single, you're navigating apps, or just trying to survive the single scene altogether in your 30s, even in your late 20s, pull up a chair because this is your safe space. I want to be clear right out the gate that I am not a relationship guru. I don't have a PhD in marriage, and I am definitely not an expert. But I am in the trenches with you. And I've been through it, man. That's actually what got me motivated to start actually recording this. I was on a date last week, and we were at Topgolf. He'd pay for 2 hours of golfing. And within the first 10 to 15 minutes, I knew this was not going to work. And if you've ever experienced this before, I just kept picturing myself screaming into a pillow because I was like, this is 120 minutes of wasted time for me. And so if you're feeling like me and you feel like you're losing your mind out here, I'm just here to tell you that you're not alone. This podcast is for the person out there who just needs to hear they're not the only one navigating this. The amount of times that I have talked to people that just feel like it's a waste of time, they've given up, or they don't know where to meet people because the apps aren't doing it for them, I'm with you. This is rough. And I want to make this a lighthearted podcast where I just talk to you guys about how to navigate all of this. I want to talk about funny stories that we've dealt with and hopefully just bring some perspective and help you know, again, you're not the only one. So, today's episode is titled, Why Won't Anyone Just Set a Date? And to explain where the name of this podcast even comes from, we have to throw it all the way back to the mission. So if you served a mission, you probably remember the term Eternadaters. So those were investigators who would read the scriptures, they'd come to church, take the lessons for years, and just never could quite make it to the finish line and commit. Welcome to LDS dating in your 30s, where it feels like we have all become Eternadators. It's not even that people are malicious or trying to string us along. It's that the whole landscape of dating has just changed. Between the endless swiping, the hanging out, the unique pressures of our culture, it feels like we're just stuck in this perpetual cycle of first dates and group hangouts and getting to know you phases that never actually move anywhere. We're all just out here eternadating. So today we are going to laugh a little. We're going to unpack why it feels impossible just to get past that first casual date and validate the absolute exhaustion of being stuck in this loop. So let's dive in. To kick things off, I figured it only is fair to start a podcast about dating. I should go first and share a little bit of my own baggage. Because if we can't laugh at the madness, we're gonna cry, right? So I think it's only appropriate that I start out by telling a personal story of my own, okay? I was living in Arizona. I had just gotten my first teaching job. I went on a date the day before leaving on a 3-day camping trip with all my 6th graders. And I was starting to feel the cold coming on. I had a lot to do to prepare for the next morning, and this date felt a little bit rushed. We went to one of my favorite places in the world, which is Filiberto's, if you've never been. Amazing California burrito. If you don't know what a California burrito is, look it up. It'll change your life. So after the burrito, we said goodbye. I went off on my 3-day woodland adventure. And when I got home, I was asked to babysit that day. And we were having a housewarming party for my roommate who had just bought the house that we were living in. It was 90s themed. It was really fun. We had a good time. I was talking to all these people. And I was new to Arizona, so I didn't know a lot of people. But there was a guy at the party that I had recognized. And I kept looking over at him, and I was like, how do I know you? I know we know each other somehow. Can't remember how. So I finally went up to him, and I said, you look really familiar. Do we know each other? And he kind of laughed a little bit and pulled me into a hug. And as he's pulling me into a hug, my heart stopped, and I realized this is the guy I went out with 3 days ago. And as we're embracing, he whispers in my ear, it's me, Ryan. We pulled out of the hug, and I looked at him, and I was like, just messing with you. I knew who you were the whole time. It was a little bit rough. After that, obviously, I didn't go on a date with him again because I think he knew. Deep down, I think he knew that I did not remember who he was. I have so many more stories to tell you, but that's just an example of one of the dates that I've been on. I tell you that story because honestly, even though it was wild, it was a date. It was a date. At least someone set a time and a place, and we showed up in person. Because lately, it feels like even getting to that point is a marathon. Have you guys just noticed the modern pen pal phenomenon? You match with someone on an app, and the next, few days is just back and forth banter. You're feeling like things are going well. You're laughing. They're sending funny memes or inside jokes, whatever. And you're like, okay, wow, we have so much in common. Then a week passes, and then 2 weeks pass. You're sharing your day, you're talking about your childhood dog. You've built an entire emotional relationship through a screen. I have been here quite a few times. They don't ask to go on a date. Maybe they don't even ask for your number. We've become Eternadaters because we're spending weeks investing emotional energy into people that we've never actually looked in the eye. It's exhausting. And then you get into this cycle of asking yourself, am I doing something wrong? Should I ask them out? Are they just bored? If you're stuck in a texting ship right now, hear me out. It is not just you. The system right now, I feel, is broken. And it's completely normal to feel drained by a text message thread that leads to nowhere. I think a huge reason why people get stuck in this endless text limbo, or why people are terrified to transition into real life, is that our culture has made the stakes way too high. Think about it. When you're in your 20s in a college ward, dating is casual, right? Everyone's just having a good time. But when you're single in your 30s, there's this unspoken, invisible, ticking time bomb in the background of every ward potluck and FHE and app match, right? Because of that pressure, I feel like we've stopped treating a first date like low-stakes vibe check. Instead, it feels like a high-stakes corporate interview for eternity. We're sitting across from someone over a California burrito, a Diet Coke, whatever, thinking, can I see this person at my family Thanksgiving? What would their temple habits be like? Are they going to ruin my credit score? And the guys are doing it too. It's not just the women. Everyone panics and stalls because they think a first date means I'm locking myself into a relationship with you. No wonder we're all choice paralyzed. No wonder we stay Eternadaters. We've forgotten how to just say, hey, you seem cool. Let's hang out for 45 minutes and see if we have anything to talk about. We just need to lower the stakes. A first date is just a conversation. So, speaking of crazy first dates, of first dates in general, I do not want this to be the Ashlyn show. In fact, I want to share way more about you guys and stuff from experts and other people than I ever want to share about myself. But one thing I want to share on my podcast is crazy date stories from you guys. I know you all have them because unless you were just the chosen one in the primordial existence, you all have one. I don't think anyone goes through the dating phase unscathed. Everyone's got a story. And I want to hear them. And I want us to laugh together. And I want us to know that we're not alone. Again, what the whole podcast is about. So, if what I just said describes you, please DM me your crazy date story. You can use a voice recording. You can just write it out. It can be anonymous. It can be not anonymous, whatever. I just want to know, and I want to share it on my podcast. That's it, guys. It's been like 7 minutes. That's all I got for you on this first episode. Just know the Lord loves you, and He cares a lot about you and wants you to succeed. And your dating, your relationship status does not mean anything in terms of how much God loves you. That's it, guys. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next week. Bye.